Can something as simple as body shape secretly influence confidence, relationships, and how society treats you? Psychology has some surprising answers, especially when it comes to women with small breasts. This isn't about judgment, it's about understanding human behavior on a deeper level. What you'll hear may change the way you see yourself or others. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the truth behind what really shapes us. Fact 1. Beauty standards shape perception. From childhood to adulthood, our understanding of beauty is shaped by the world around us. In cultures dominated by visual media, specific physical traits are often idealized. Large eyes, fair skin, a certain waist-to-hip ratio, and commonly larger breasts. However, these standards are not universal, nor are they fixed in time. Historically, beauty standards have evolved. Ancient Greek sculptures celebrated modest forms, while Renaissance art emphasized fuller bodies. The ideal female form has always been a reflection of societal values, wealth, fertility, purity, or even athleticism. Today's beauty ideal is largely shaped by media portrayals, fashion models, social media influencers, and edited images set a bar few naturally meet. Psychologically, these beauty norms affect self-esteem, especially among women. Research shows that when individuals compare themselves to unrealistic images, dissatisfaction with their bodies increases. For women with smaller breasts, repeated exposure to a larger bust ideal can lead to feelings of inadequacy, even though this trait has no bearing on a person's worth or ability. The key point is that beauty standards are constructed, not innate. What society praises today, it may forget tomorrow. For individuals, recognizing this truth is a form of liberation. It allows one to focus on health, personality, and values rather than chasing ever-shifting ideals. Educators and parents have a role to play here. By teaching critical media literacy and reinforcing that beauty is diverse, we equip the next generation with stronger self-worth. When people understand that perception is shaped, not chosen, they begin to reclaim ownership of their image and identity. In conclusion, beauty standards do shape perception, but that perception can be challenged and changed. By understanding the forces that define what's considered attractive, we become more compassionate toward ourselves and others. Fact 2. Media's influence on identity. The media, television, magazines, social media, holds powerful sway over how people see themselves. Psychologists have long observed that frequent exposure to idealized body types affects not only self-esteem, but also how individuals construct their own identity. For women with smaller breasts, the media often sends subtle and sometimes overt signals that their body is less desirable or less feminine, while some outlets do celebrate diverse body types. The dominant narrative still leans heavily toward a curvy hourglass ideal. The result is internalized body dissatisfaction, where individuals adopt society's standards as their own, even if those standards make them feel unworthy. This identity crisis can lead to harmful behaviors, crash dieting, excessive exercise, cosmetic procedures, or social withdrawal. It may also affect mental health, contributing to anxiety, depression, or body dysmorphia. But more than that, it shapes how women define themselves, not by their talents, intelligence, or kindness, but by whether they meet a visual checklist created by advertisers and influencers. Studies reveal that limiting screen time, especially on image-driven platforms like Instagram or TikTok, can improve self-esteem. Exposure to positive role models, athletes, thinkers, leaders of all body types also helps. When young women see that identity is multifaceted and not limited to physical form, they begin to embrace their uniqueness. It's also worth noting the media's changing landscape. More creators and brands are embracing authenticity, inclusivity, and natural bodies. Movements like #NoFilter and #BodyPositivity are challenging traditional norms and making space for all forms of beauty. Ultimately, identity should be self-defined, not media-assigned. When people learn to critically evaluate the images and messages they consume, they gain freedom. Freedom to define their worth in ways that go far beyond appearance. Fact 3. Confidence comes from within. True confidence doesn't come from the mirror. It comes from within. This may sound cliché, but psychological research strongly supports the idea that internal validation is more enduring than external praise. For women with small breasts who feel pressured by societal beauty standards, the key to self-confidence lies not in altering appearance, but in reframing self-worth. Clinical psychologists refer to this as internal locus of control, the belief that one's value is defined by personal traits, not by how others others view them. Women who develop an internal sense of confidence tend to rely less on appearance for their self-worth. They invest in their intellect, skills, values, and character. They tend to have stronger relationships, perform better in careers, and report higher life satisfaction. Why? Because they build identity on unshakable ground. Unfortunately, we live in a time where comparison is constant. Social media can make even the most grounded person feel inadequate. But comparison is the enemy of confidence. The antidote is self-knowledge, knowing your purpose, strengths, and limitations, and accepting them. One powerful strategy to build confidence is affirmation through action. That means setting goals, achieving them, and reinforcing one's capability through lived success. Confidence grows when you see yourself doing things you thought you couldn't. Another tool is self-talk. Psychologists find that people who speak kindly to themselves perform better and handle stress more effectively. Instead of saying, "I wish I looked different," try, "I am grateful for what my body allows me to do." In conclusion, while appearance can influence self-esteem, long-term confidence is built on inner character. Body type, including breast size, does not define a person's strength, beauty, or future. What matters most is how we see ourselves when the world isn't watching. Fact 4. Society rewards conformity subtly. In every era, society encourages people to conform, to dress a certain way, speak a certain way, and even look a certain way. What's dangerous is that these pressures are rarely shouted, they're whispered, suggested, and rewarded quietly. For women, this means that certain physical traits are affirmed by compliments, attention, or social validation. Traits that don't match the ideal, like smaller breasts, may be ignored or subtly criticized. This does not happen through direct insults, but often through omission, being passed over in media, not being cast in certain roles, or rarely being featured in fashion advertising. This creates an unspoken hierarchy of appearance, and it shapes behavior. People begin to internalize the idea that they must conform to be accepted. They may alter clothing styles, posture, or even undergo cosmetic surgery to fit in, not because they want to, but because they feel they have to. Psychologists call this social conditioning. Over time, if unchallenged, it erodes individuality and reinforces collective insecurity. Young girls learn that fitting in matters more than standing out. This affects not only self-image, but also ambition, assertiveness, and overall life trajectory. Yet society also evolves. Today, a growing number of voices challenge this conformity. From artists to athletes, people are rejecting narrow definitions of beauty. They're finding power in authenticity, in being exactly as they are. For individuals, resisting subtle conformity means developing strong boundaries and critical thinking. It means asking, is this really what I want, or what I've been told to want, and then choosing to live accordingly. In summary, society often rewards conformity, but true fulfillment comes from authenticity. When people accept and celebrate what makes them different, including body type, they begin to shift the cultural narrative one voice at a time. Fact 5. Relationships aren't skin deep. Attraction is complex. While society often focuses on physical traits, long-term relationships are rarely built on appearance alone. Psychologists consistently find that qualities like kindness, humor, intelligence, and shared values rank higher than physical features in lasting relationships. Yet, many women with small breasts may worry about being less attractive to potential partners. This fear is reinforced by media portrayals that equate large breasts with sex appeal and desirability. But the reality is very different. In surveys of men and women, physical preferences vary widely. Some prefer large, some small, and many don't prioritize chest size at all. More importantly, initial attraction is only the first step in a relationship. Emotional compatibility, communication, and trust are what sustain connections over time. Clinical psychologists working with couples report that many people regret focusing too much on appearance in early relationships. What lasts is shared meaning, respect, and emotional intimacy, none of which depend on breast size or body shape. Moreover, partners who truly value and love someone tend to see their partner's unique features as beautiful, not despite them, but because of them. In this way, love reframes perception. What matters most becomes how that person makes you feel, not how they appear in photographs. For individuals struggling with body image in relationships, communication is key. Expressing insecurities openly often leads to reassurance and stronger intimacy. Bottling them up, on the other hand, can create distance. In conclusion, real relationships go far beyond surface-level attraction. By focusing on what truly matters, character, emotional connection, shared dreams, we build bonds that last. And in doing so, we learn that real beauty is felt, not seen. Fact 6. Self-worth needs rebuilding. For those who have felt overlooked, rejected, or criticized due to physical traits, including small breasts, rebuilding self-worth is both necessary and possible. Psychology tells us that self-worth is not fixed. It can be strengthened, repaired, and redefined through intentional action. The first step is to separate self-worth from appearance. That means realizing that how you look is only one part of who you are, and not the most important part. Attributes like loyalty, creativity, courage, and empathy hold far more weight in relationships, careers, and life fulfillment. Rebuilding self-worth also involves challenging internalized beliefs. If someone has spent years believing they are less than because of media messages or social comparison, those beliefs need to be unlearned. Therapy, journaling, and self-reflection can all help. Replace harmful thoughts with empowering truths. I am whole as I am. I bring value to others. I do not need to change to be worthy. Community also plays a role. Surrounding oneself with people who affirm individuality, not conformity, can accelerate healing. The more we hear messages of acceptance, the more we internalize them. Importantly, rebuilding self-worth is not about pretending physical appearance doesn't matter. It's about putting it in proper perspective. There is nothing wrong with caring about how you look, but when it becomes the only measure of value, it leads to suffering. By rebuilding self-worth from the inside out, we protect ourselves from the changing tides of public opinion. We become anchored in something deeper, and that makes all the difference. Conclusion. At the end of the day, your worth isn't defined by numbers, curves, or comparisons. True beauty lies in confidence, character, and how you carry yourself through the world. If today's message helped shift your perspective even a little, that's a step towards self-respect. Thanks for watching. Stay grounded, stay kind, and stay uniquely you.